Well, Joe, we're back in the room where it all sort of started for you on your Bedford Blues journey. 12 months down the line now, when you were sitting here, it was your first day, your first media interview, I think only about 8 hours after you got off the flight from Australia. Now we're back talking. You've re-signed for a second season. You must be obviously the right choice for you to continue your journey here at Goldenton Road.
Yeah, I guess as you say, it was a pretty easy decision, sort of off the back of the year that I've had personally, and off the back of the year the team's had. Obviously, had a really good finishing fourth in a really competitive season, and then personally, obviously, playing probably the best rugby I've ever played, which sort of culminated in receiving the sort of players trophy. So yeah, as I say, easy decision, and really looking forward to next season, and sort of different to last season. It's nice to sort of have something signed, and so I'll be able to enjoy my summer now, and won't be sort of fired in late into pre-season. Can sort of take the rest and then have a full pre-season to get into next year. Yeah.
If you look to hone in on to why you specifically just said there, this being the best rugby of your career so far in your first season at Bedford, can you hone in on that a little bit? Why?
Well, I think, I sort of spoke about it previously, but I think a lot of it's to do with the sort of style of rugby that's played here. It is quite, Bedford Blues is quite, unique compared to a lot of the other teams around England, especially in the Champ and their style. They're very sort of free flowing. They want to, give it a crack wherever they are on the field. And if you come into that environment after sort of being in, a sort of standard rugby environment for so long, I think it's either going to go one or two ways. And thankfully, for me, it's gone the way that it's really allowed me to express myself, both sides of the ball, attack and defence. And I think that's just sort of set my rugby on an upward trajectories. And, it's been really good so far, yeah.
A key part of the squad last season, we will talk about that Players Player Award very shortly. In terms of your position, the back row, lots of competition. It's a theme we've been talking about for a number of years now is continuity. You are one of the first re-signings. We don't want to spoil too much about what's going to happen, but continuity in your role seems to be continuing. That is what we'll announce in the next couple of weeks. How important is that in terms of how we try and progress next season? Because we all talk about fourth. We finished fourth for the last two seasons now. In terms of progressing, how important is that going to be next season?
Yeah, well, I guess, in terms of that sort of continuity week to week, finding those different combinations that work. And at stages of this season just gone by, it was very stop start, and that obviously sort of hinders the continuity. But as I say, I won't give away too much, but it looks like the team's going to hopefully be quite similar to next year. And off the back of the sort of season we've just had, sort of confidence is going to be high in the team. And when a team's full of confidence, even with new lads potentially coming in, they'll be able to slot in a lot more easier. And obviously that continuity, whether it's in the pack and finding those different combinations in the back row, for instance, or the sort of half-back combinations, it all ties everything in together. That allows us to sort of play the brand of rugby that Mikey wants to play. So I think it's really key that hopefully, we can start pre-season on the right foot compared to sort of last season. I know it was a sort of 9-week break from the end of the season to the start of pre-season. We're obviously non-World Cup year this year. It's only 5 weeks, a bit shorter, so lads won't be away as long. So hopefully we can sort of fly into pre-season and get really stuck into the season early on.
Looking specifically at yourself, you've been getting a lot of praise throughout the season. I won't spoil what's going to happen for you on Friday either, but you have played in the 6, 7 and 8 jersey here at Bedford this season. Has that helped you in terms of that game time? You've obviously been able to, versatile-wise, you've been able to play in lots of different combinations and in lots of different positions. Talk us through that from your perspective last season. How do you see that moving forwards?
It's one of them. I always sort of used to think it as a bit of a negative that like I can sort of play 6, 7 and 8, because I always sort of thought, sort of used to sort of, that voice at the back of the head, the sort of jack of all trades, master of none. But then again, sort of similar to what I said earlier, like coming into this team and the sort of, once the set piece is done in this team, it's, Mikey's really sort of adamant about the fact that it's almost like we don't have numbers on our back. So this year, my mindset's kind of shifted around that. I know I've played probably a majority of the season at 8, but then I've also slotted in at 6, and then probably second place in terms of appearances 7. But my mindset's kind of shifted. Outside a set piece, it's like I don't have a number on my back. I know what role I have as a back rower. It doesn't matter if I'm 7, 6 or 8. And I'm probably going to go in with the sort of same mindset next year, that wherever sort of Mikey needs me, that's where I'm going to, play, whether it's for 1 week, 2 weeks, or the whole season. It's not really affecting me too much anymore. And as I say, I could be playing 7 next season, most of it could be 8, 6, it doesn't matter for me. I'm hopefully going to work on all my skills that each of those different positions need specifically. But yeah, as I say, my mindset sort of shifted on that, and I think that's part of the reason why this season's been, done really well for me.
Let's talk about that Players Player of the Year award. A very emotive interview with Sam actually afterwards, talking about it. It's been a whirlwind season for you. You're obviously a very prestigious award for you to win. You were honoured by doing that. It was a full team performance, but you must be taking some massive credit for yourself that you managed to win that as well.
I think, as I say, you just sort of look at all the other lads, and there's a lot of other lads, who would have, easily been deserved to win that. And the fact that it ended up being me, as I sort of said in those interviews with Sam, it's really sort of humbling. And, almost sort of invigorates me even more to sort of say next season, the boys have sort of said, over the season have voted for me numerous times. It's right, I don't want that. I want next season to sort of, back that up and prove to them that, not that they made the right decision, but that, what they saw in me wasn't just a one-off season, that I can sort of back that up and do even better next season. So, as I say, really humbling. And I remember, I've been looking at the sort of names on it, and there's some real sort of big names on that, and it's just really humbling to sort of be a part of that list as well, yeah. Yeah,
maybe we'll get the trophy back off you at some point. We can't seem to take it out of your grasp at the minute.
Yeah, it's a good drinking cup, so yeah, I'll have to get it back eventually though.
Let's just conclude by talking about the off-field stuff as well. Obviously, you're wearing Blues Foundation kit at the moment. You've been working with them all year. You're probably one of the best players to speak about it in terms of Bedford as a club, as a part-time professional club, allowing you to seek extracurricular roles and develop your journey outside of rugby. You're obviously finding that here at Gordon's Road. You spend more time here than most of us.
Yeah, I do spend quite a lot of time here. But yeah, as you said, it is massive. The fact that, most of the sort of big clubs in this league are full-time, and that's absolutely fine. But, Bedford, having that part-time model, and unfortunately today's sort of circumstances, the way rugby is at the moment, having that part-time model, allows everyone else in the team to, explore avenues outside of rugby and give them that almost bit of a safety blanket. And I guess that probably does correlate onto the field as well. It's not like rugby's the be-all, end-all. So there's that positive. And then at the same time, if things aren't going too well, you can always focus on work outside of rugby. So there's another positive. And, there's, another one is, because of that sort of part-time environment, lads can sort of make it work for themselves. As I sort of said a couple of weeks ago, lads still come in as early as they can, whether that's 4 o'clock, and then they're here right till 8. So we're still getting a good few hours in, whether we need to be gymming, rehabbing, reviewing, training, doing extra skill work. The work still gets done, and it's probably testament to the character of lads that they, despite, near enough a full day of work, that they come in and still do that and still perform to such a high level on the weekends as well. And as you say, with the foundation, it's been great this year. We really feel like we've really grown. Obviously, my sort of remit is to help grow the game in the area. Obviously, it's a pretty rugby mad town, but unfortunately, over the last few years, sort of rugby seems to be dying off in a lot of schools. So, we're just trying to sort of push it as much as we can in these schools, whether that's teacher training or just getting kids passing a rugby ball for the first time. And then on the other side of it, we're having some really good impact on sort of individuals a bit older, sort of that year, 14 to 16-year-old who are struggling at school, sort of getting them in to the foundation and sort of showing them how sport can have a positive impact on their lives, and sort of having some good, tough conversations and hopefully pointing them on the right path. So yeah, it's been amazing, that side of things as well.
Well, Joe, it's been a pleasure to work with you for the last 12 months. Looking forward to it again next season. I'm sure we'll be catching up when the boys return to pre-season in a couple of weeks. But for now, thank you for the interview, and we'll speak soon.
Awesome. Thank you very much.